scheduling of that work has to be coordinated with their flaggers, and I did not get anything, any communications back from them. So we're still hoping for the first week of January to start that, which would be next week, but I cannot confirm that right now.
Okay. Any other questions for Tracy? All right. Are there any other public on the line that would like to comment? Okay. We will move on to reports of committees. Village Administrator.
I don't have a report.
Okay. Police Chief Mort, you there?
Yes, I am. I have no report tonight.
Were you able to get the software for the speed sign upgraded?
That's correct. I did.
You were able to get that, perfect, okay. All right, moving on to engineer report. Troy, what do you got for us?
I don't have anything to report other than what's on the agenda later.
Okay. And before I get to you, Bob, Mike, do you want to give a report? There was a Public Works Committee meeting last week.
Yeah, we hadn't had a meeting for quite some time, so we had a pretty long agenda. The meeting was on December 21st, and those present were Wayne Parker, Julie Sluice, myself, Village Administrator, Head of Public Works, Bob Hankey. First thing here, we set a spring cleanup date for Saturday, April 24th, with a rain date of May 15th. And we thought it would be a nice idea to have the people that are going to participate from the community and ourselves meet at the new Public Works building, and then have someone, probably Bob, out there to give a little bit of information to the public that has questions and how things work out there. And we would run that cleanup from 9 a.m. till noon. And then Bob will have the areas that need attention for everybody. And the public is welcome to turn out and like they have in the past. We had preliminary drainage studies review for 5 locations, and we were in agreement that the worst location is the Conrad Street corridor. Apparently we're Crawford tees into Conrad. It's like a bowl there. It's a low spot, and if you remember the rains we had last year, a couple cars were totaled because the water there was so deep. So that's our number one concern on that. The street condition map review and prioritization for CIP. The very worst street in town is North Street from Route 50 to the railroad. I don't know, you probably don't drive on it because it's mostly local traffic, but I mean, it's horrific. I mean, it's unbelievable, and that's our priority there. We talk about branch and leaf pickup, in-house services, homewood disposal, yard waste services. We're going to fine tune that a little bit to maybe save some money and still provide services. But that'll be more discussion on that. The Corning Street construction update. There seems to be quite a few issues there. In places it's very grainy and porous, and that'll lead to water getting in there, freezing and popping it out. Where the roads, the side streets come into it. In some places there's a 2-inch elevation where it's higher than the regular street. If you drive down it, it's not perfectly smooth. I don't know what the deal is, but Bob's looking into that, and we know that's an 80-20 grant, and until all these issues are corrected, I would suggest that we hold payment. My own personal opinion is some of this stuff is gonna be expensive and a mess to correct, and they're liable just to say, keep your 20%, who knows? But Amy, were you able to contact the state to see about them holding payment until this has been corrected?
No, we asked Troy to make his contacts at the state.
Troy, have you made contact with the state?
Not specifically with the state yet, but the village can choose not to accept the work once, because you have to go through a process of approving the quantities, and then it's the state that ultimately pays the contractor, not you. So we will put that in with the state that there's issues, but we have to follow IDAC's rules on this. But from what I've been told, is the contractor is aware of the issues that the village has brought up and our resident engineer has brought up. And they are saying they're gonna fix them in the spring, so we just gotta hold them to that and then, see what happens then, up to, approving it for payment.
I would suggest that sometime maybe the board, mayor, come out there and take a look at that and see exactly what we're talking about and what we're going to accept. Because they're talking about grinding down the high spots and doing some other things, and we spend a lot of money there. We don't want a patchwork quilt. And so I think we should all take a look at that. Let's see here. Oh, parking on Wilson Street west of the railroad tracks. We've got people parking on both sides of the street there. I'd say that's probably 100 feet, maybe 150 feet. When you get cars on both sides of the road, you can't hardly make that turn without maybe having an accident. I don't think a snowplow will fit through there. So what we are suggesting was to close the north side of Wilson Street between Railroad and First Street.
Parking.
For parking.
Okay.
And they can park on First Street in front of the building, and they've got a big driveway in the back of the building where the people that live there can park. So we may want to take a look at that and maybe make that an action item for the next board meeting. Downtown streetscape project update, Tuesday, January 12th, and then another meeting on January 21st. And January 21st, I wrote down 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Was that the same time we're talking about on the 12th?
No, that'll be earlier. And I'll email you guys out the time for that. The 12th will just be for the board.
Okay.
The 21st is in a more
Public.
broad stakeholder group.
Right, so the 12th is, the 12th is a 2 p.m. meeting, and that can be done by Zoom, so you don't have to come here to do it. And then the 21st is a stakeholder meeting. That one is at 6 to 7:30. Again, that'll be a Zoom meeting as well.
And the board can come to both.
Yeah, hope you come to both.
Another item we discussed, a tree removal on private property. We know we can't go on private property, but in some of these cases, the trees are just inside the sidewalk and create a very, very, very dangerous situation. I mean, they're dead, rotten. There's not a ton of them, but why wait till a branch breaks off and kills somebody before we do something? So we want to get a legal opinion on what we can actually do or not do, or letter writing, or just what, because it's a terrible liability and it should be addressed before there's a major issue. That was about it.
Perfect. Any questions for Trustee Jones? All right, then moving on, Bob, do you have anything to add?
Sure. Couple things. Continue to move and organize the new shop. It's going well. It actually looks like a shop. The seasonal hire is doing excellent. I did hire him with a permit, but he was able to obtain a CDL in the past 2 weeks. So that's excellent for me. Within the next week, I'll be meeting with Robinson's RE. We're going to do a walkthrough of Corning Avenue to point out the issues that it has. And we'll be making a punch list. I do have a punch list of my own, but I'll be sharing that with Robinson. So that's what I have.
How's the heat in the building working?
Did you hear that, Bob?
I didn't hear that question.
How's the heat in the building working?
Excellent. Very well.
Good.
All right, moving on, we have no old business, new business, item A, review/approve quotes for storm sewer infrastructure improvements on South Second Street. In your packets, there were 3 quotes for that work. To refresh your memory, we want to put a 12-inch storm sewer tying in the existing tile and getting that to our big storm sewer on South Street. So we had 3 quotes. Steve Spees Construction for $87,977. Alberico, $65,500. And what was the third one?
Ren.
How much was that? Do you guys have that?
8667.
8667 for rent, so. Troy, do you want to make some preliminary comments on those quotes?
Sure. I think based on what I've heard about all 3 of these contractors from others in my company, all 3 of these contractors do really good underground work. This project's a little different because we don't have plans, but we sent them what the village wants to do. We sent them the specs that we want to use, and they all received the same information. I talked to all 3 contractors on the phone to like clear up any questions. So it wasn't just, send them this and then wait for something back. I followed up and talked to them all. They all were pretty much in their proposals specking out the same type of stuff. They all called for the same type of 12-inch plastic pipe and a couple drainage structures, inlets, and then connecting to the 36-inch pipe on South Street, connecting to the existing field tile. The kind of the unknown is some of the restoration in the width of kind of the path that's going to need to happen. That's just out the Second Street in that backyard of that home. The lowest one came in at $65,500. That was Alberico. I followed up with several people about them, and I've heard only good things about their work. So, I mean, with their price being lower and calling for the same stuff, I would think that would be the way to go for the village.
Because they even say
The
too,
one thing,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, they also say too, that they will deduct, like $5,500 if the village completes the turf restore and the spoil remover. So actually it would be down to 60,000.
Well, that's if we did that.
If we did that, if we agreed to that,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But I don't think.
I mean, and there are also some items that this proposal doesn't include. If tree removal is necessary, construction layout work for them. Since there's no plans, we'll need to lay it out in the field for them. Possible soil testing if they're depending on what dump they have to haul away the materials to.
Other questions from the trustees?
Was there a quote from Ren? I just had the other 2. I didn't see.
I sent you an addendum later
Oh,
because
okay.
because Ren didn't send it to us until after the packet went out.
All right.
It was an email sent on Thursday.
And the first line item of both of these quotes is mobilization. What does that entail? What is mobilization?
Troy, you want to handle that question?
Could you hear that?
That is just, that is it's pretty much moving their equipment, getting their equipment to the site.
A lot of that requires a
You know, their
state
heavy
permit.
equipment, excavators, and stuff, dump trucks, stuff like that.
It's gonna be a really deep trench, so they're gonna need quite a bit of equipment.
Have to get state permit for that.
If the excavator's big enough,
The easement that they're talking about with the homeowner, is that the homeowner that's experiencing the flooding issue, the water? It's not.
No. We're not gonna go into any of the property, adjacent to the farm. We're gonna put the easement on the farm. But when you get further north, we need an easement in a property that this is not even affecting, but it'll get us over to the sewer, over to the storm sewer. All the way by South Street.
And I have a question for Troy. And I know nothing about earth moving, but there's a lot of categories here. Have they, all three contractors, figured exactly the same thing? Or is the low bidder, doesn't have something in there that the others may have, or?
Did you hear that, Troy? Yeah.
Yeah, it was about that the work appeared to be the same between the three proposals.
Correct.
Yeah, as far as I can tell from the proposals, they were very close in what they were specking out. I believe they all put in the option of off-site disposal of excess dirt, but the one had the option if the village, was able to take it. They all got the same stuff when I initially emailed them, and the proposals are all very similar.
I have one question on the material. It is a perforated 12-inch tile, correct?
No, it's a solid.
Solid.
I think it's corrugated on the outside and smooth on the inside.
But not perforated, huh?
No,
What's the point of the stone bedding if you're not letting water into the pipe?
I believe that is just to protect the pipe, and then that's what the specs call for that type of plastic pipe.
I
is
see.
Stone bedding around it.
So the water inlet is coming from the surface, not below ground?
Right.
And there's
The
no,
main point of this pipe is to take water from the existing drain tile and any surface water that pools at that low point in the
Okay.
farm field.
but there's no benefit from collecting below ground water with a perforation?
I think the best way to go is the solid pipe in this situation because it creates more of a storm sewer, and we'll just bring it straight to the other storm sewer. I don't
Okay,
think that that's needed.
okay.
If it was a smaller pipe, yes, but this is a 12-inch pipe, so it'll act as a storm sewer.
Got it.
I can add in what Troy's saying too. Storm sewer is never perforated. Just to add on that also.
What kind of a time frame are they looking to complete this start to finish?
To that, Troy, what do you think a time frame is for to start to finish for something like this?
I don't know. I'd have to ask the contractor that. But I mean, the issue is going to be if we can get the easement and the layout and get it ready to go before the ground becomes too frozen. Two of the contractors told me that working in January is probably realistic. They actually like a little bit of a little bit of frozen ground, but once it gets too deep, then they can't do it. So it's going to depend on the easement and if we need to do a ComEd pole bracing and getting it all lined up quickly. If we can get it done before the ground becomes too frozen.
I mean, let's just say we can start, how long would it take them to finish a job like this?
That is not something I specifically asked them.
Okay,
Um,
I wouldn't
What-
wanna start digging and then leave it and then the ground freezes and they stop.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We'll find that out.
Okay,
How long they expect, and yeah, we would not want them to start it and not finish it.
yeah,
I think once a contractor's chosen, the best course, I talked to the mayor about this, the best course of action is to have a field meeting to try to
Uh-huh,
get everybody on board and, ask the questions of the contractor that we need to know and the preferred route, and get everything figured out.
okay.
Who has the liability if a little kid falls in a 12-foot ditch and gets hurt? Is that the contractor or is that us?
Did you hear that question, Troy?
I did, and this isn't a project that had used our, bidding front-end specs because we just went out for proposals. So normally we have, liability and insurance included in our, bid contracts. This one's a little different, so maybe that's a question for the attorney.
The primary this is Jim Bartley, the primary liability would be with the contractor, but as Troy mentioned, normally when we enter into a contract agreement of this kind, the insurance requirements would be stated as well as the indemnity provisions. But we apparently don't have anything, any contract form in writing at this point.
Any other questions?
How soon can they start?
Well, I think it depends on, we've got to get the easements drawn up and signed. And I'm not sure how long that's going to take.
They're being worked on,
Yeah,
but there's a little uncertainty with how wide they need to be, so I think the field meeting is gonna determine, help determine that. So, a field meeting might also help determine the time frame of,
right. So, I mean, that's why I kind of wanted to have this meeting tonight, because, I didn't want to waste another 2 weeks. So, sooner the better. I mean, we'll push, if we choose a contractor tonight, we'll push them to get that meeting as soon as we can with Bob and Troy and, go from there.
Our is also
And
experiencing a mild drought right now too, which is beneficial for digging
Yeah.
deep like that.
yeah, Troy?
I don't know, you might want to try to reach out to your ComEd rep
Okay,
about seeing if they could send someone out there once we know when our field meeting is. Because we'll want to get ComEd's opinion about digging close to that power pole and see if they need to brace it or not.
okay,
But it'd be good if we had ComEd out there during the field meeting.
okay. I'll call him now, so I'll give him a heads up.
And so, and also, the money for this will be coming from our sewer impact fee fund that we've accumulated over the years, so there's enough money to do this. Any other questions? Okay. If not, entertain a motion to accept one of these bids.
Do we have to pick one?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
I'll make a motion that we accept the Alberico one for $65,500.
Yes, because Troy said they're just as good, so I second it.
Okay, it's been moved by trustee Bowden and seconded by trustee Maresca to accept the bid from JS Alberico.
Sorry, I'm catching up here.
Take your time.
Maybe I shouldn't have motioned it. All right. I guess I motioned it, so I'll say yes. Trustee Maravka?
Yes.
Trustee Ham?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Parker?
Yes.
That's all I need, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda, special events. We have Tractors for a Cure on August 7th. It's in your packet, a similar event to what they've done in the past. They'd like to close the streets, and also they are requesting an amplifier permit.
Sorry, the only thing they need to change is the date of the event. They put 8/7/2020. And then they
Okay.
put rain date 8/8/2021, so they have the
Okay.
second one right.
Okay. Chief, did you want to comment on any of these at all?
Well, I'd just say that we have 4 events planned, and I suspect there'll probably be a couple more for total street closure for this spring and summer and early fall. Would strongly suggest that there be no open alcohol on any streets in Peatone, and that staff would be assigned or paid for to be down there to make that happen. Somehow when you get groups together and you get alcohol on the streets, we have potential for headaches. Right now I would take 2 of my people and put them at every event, which is going to run close to $100 an hour.
So have we ever talked about, or have we ever charged for street closure before? You know, for paying for officers to do that? Has that ever happened before?
I don't, in my time, it has not. But we used to only get 1 a year, which is the late July car club.
Okay. Trustees, what do you guys think?
Haven't we always had beer on the street during the car cruise?
There's potential for people that bring their own coolers and have them on the street, or sit on sidewalks or whatever. And
Well, have we had in the past on these events, have we had open alcohol allowed in the street when we do the street closure? Or it's not really supposed to happen?
they have allowed the car club to have that, but it's not really supposed to happen.
Chief, is this in regard to the car accident this summer?
Well, that probably was the big one, and then the day they had a cruising night, some of our people that were driving around town couldn't help but for the hot rod movements, and that it's not against the organization, it's just people that attend these things can't quit showing off.
So is he kind of looking not just for an okay on to keep the alcohol off the streets, is he also looking for them to pay for 2 officers an hourly wage? That's what he's looking for, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it takes to be able to dedicate officers there during events like this. And not, I mean, he's not just saying the car club.
Right, right,
But
but
any
anybody
event-
with a street closure.
Correct.
Yes, I agree.
Who's going to have alcohol, he just needs to dedicate manpower
Right.
to enforce no alcohol in the streets or whatever. And so it's just something we need to kind of be taking a look at, so,
Right.
you know, maybe we just don't, maybe we're not at a point we can approve these tonight until we,
I mean, I think it's a
Contemplate.
great
Can I
idea.
say
think we
something?
should charge.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We'd like to interject. This is Andrea and Todd Sandberg from the Peatone Car Club.
Okay.
If we have to start paying for police officers and manpower to patrol the streets, cost, that goes into my budget, it takes away from some of the organizations that we donate to. Which is, you know, $100 an hour for the officers. I understand the cost, completely understand the cost, but that's, you know, for the 4-hour event's not too bad, but for the car show on the Saturday, I mean, I got people up there from 7 o'clock till, 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. I mean, it's 12 hours, it's $1,200. I mean, I can't afford to do this anymore then.
I'd like to add in too that in our this will be our 34th year for the show. We did cancel the cruise in previous years, and then this last year for 2020, it was actually requested by Mr. Morris, or by Chief Morris, that we add in the cruise because it was very similar to Mantino. If it's a problem, we can gladly eliminate the cruise, and then that will eliminate the hot rodding situation.
Yeah.
As for the accident that happened at Tails and Taillights back in September, it was a very successful event. It generated over $1,000 in donations and brought a lot of people to the downtown area that patronized local businesses. And that's our goal here, is to support the local businesses. Now, unfortunately, most of our local businesses at this time are restaurants and bars. If we remove that factor of disallowing open alcohol due to one unfortunate event in 34 years, I think that'll severely damper our ability to have successful events in the downtown area.
So I think it's great that somebody wants to bring 5 events to our downtown area throughout the summertime, which is exactly why we're talking about renovating it and trying to attract more people down there. So if you guys went, could you guys agree with Chief Mort that there's no open alcohol on the street? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
So he's asking, are you okay with eliminating open alcohol on the street, or is that a big part of your event?
That is a huge part of our event, and I do think it's really important to note that when we do have open alcohol, as I stated before, it supports our local businesses. We have a block party in the middle of summer that has alcohol in the street. Mind you, it is gated off in a beer tent, but if we're going to suspend open alcohol at all, then we're going to suspend open alcohol across the board and allow no alcohol sales downtown.
So I would suggest that the parties keep talking about how we resolve this, because I don't think we want these 5 events to go away because of this discussion tonight. I would say that we just kind of hold the dates open for these folks and let them get with the staff and the chief, and let's work together toward a solution so that we can attract more people to our downtown area.
I agree.
So
We could add to our flyers and our advertisement that, no coolers allowed
We can,
also.
absolutely.
You guys have had successful events throughout many years here, and I'm sure that you can come to an agreement with the chief, and we can pull this thing off and have it be just as good as it always has been. I just don't want to see us build into 2 camps and get farther and farther apart. I just think that we should just spend a little time talking to each other and get this one figured out. But I think we can hold these dates open for you folks until it gets resolved.
Yep.
You just muted them.
What did he say?
You just muted him.
So can I get a motion to table all of these special events approval until, I don't know. Well, to a further meeting, I guess. Can we just say that?
Yeah. I'll motion it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to table the approval of the 4 special events on tonight's agenda to a further board meeting.
Sean, is that you?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, Marevka,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Jones,
Yeah.
Ham,
Yes.
And Bowden says yes.
So
Yes, it's tabled.
should this go to a police committee? That'd be a good place to start, or AOC, what do you want to, I mean,
Well, Chief's the one saying no.
yeah, so police committee.
Yes.
So can we have a police committee meeting next month sometime?
Plan it.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it might be good just to establish a baseline of
Yeah.
where we wanna be.
Yes.
I mean, it's, honestly, it's a good problem to have. We got
Yeah,
5 groups that wanna come and
yeah,
Yeah.
attract some new folks to our area, so let's figure out some rules on how we can do this.
Agreed.
okay. So moving down then to raffle license applications. We have one from Tractors for a Cure for 2 dates, March 20th and August 7th of 2021. Any comments on those at all? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Ham, second by trustee Jones. To approve the raffle licenses for those 2 dates.
We doing both of them?
Just the 2 dates.
Oh, for the tractors that occur.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for number 1. Trustee Ham,
Yes.
trustee Jones,
Yes.
trustee Parker,
Yes.
trustee Maravka,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
And then the second one is for the Will County Farm Bureau on January 30th, 2021.
Make a motion?
Second.
Been moved by trustee Ham, second by trustee Maravka to approve the raffle license for the Will County Farm Bureau on January 30, 2021.
Trustee Ham,
Yes.
trustee Maravka,
Yes.
trustee Jones,
Yes.
trustee Parker,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay. Are any press? I don't think anybody's on the line. And correspondence, the administrator and I met with Congresswoman Kelly last week and had a good talk with her, and she agreed to send a letter of support to IDOT to help us along with our intersection improvements out there. I think that's about it. Anybody else have anything else for the building board? I appreciate you guys all coming out in the middle of the holiday, and wish everybody a happy new year, and we'll see you next year.
All right.
All right.
Oh.
Entertain a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by trustee Jones, second by trustee Maravka.
Trustee Jones.
Yep.
Trustee Maravka,
Yes.
trustee Ham,
Yes.
trustee Parker,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Great, thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You, happy holidays.
Happy
You
New Year.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw this on down his desk.